when there is greed, or humans have inherently greed. Okay. And there is a legitimacy given by the capitalism to that greed. So capitalism will always survive, which is inherent to human nature. Comfort, luxury, leisure. Okay. So why we are studying here? Same thing. The Taylor also wanted what? Taylor's idea was based on that logic of capitalism only. That human beings are inherently what? They are seeking comfort. Okay. They are seeking money. They are seeking material. So if we increase the benefit for these people in the organization, obviously economic benefit, okay, nothing more than that. So if economic benefit is increased, okay, there is bound to be a motivation, and if motivation is there, these people will work. Ultimately, it will create more money for the capitalist. Okay. And in the process, obviously, others will also benefit, not only the owner, but the workers as well as the consumers, both will benefit. Okay, that is the basic ideology of Taylor. So we had written two assumptions. One was science, not rule of thumb, and the other was maximum output in place of restricted output. Okay, so we were discussing soldering. Okay, what is soldering? Okay, soldering, also known as gold bricking or skiving, various names are there. Whatever you can say. Okay. So soldering was a phenomena where everybody or individuals try to restrict the output, okay, obviously to reduce the expectation of the manager or the management. Okay. Also because individuals inherently dislike work, that is the philosophy most of the classical theorists have. Okay, that is the ideology they have, that people do not like work. So as people dislike work, okay, they have to be forced to work. Okay, that is why the structure they are creating. Okay. So soldering, one is natural and one is systemic. Natural soldering is inherent to human beings. We are biologically wired in that way. Okay, systemic soldering is a consequence of a group behavior. Okay, so Taylor did not study group behavior, but we can say that he knew that there is an existent informal organization which is going to restrict the fellow workers as far as the productivity or the capability is concerned. Okay, so he is saying that because people do not have any stake, okay, there is nothing to look for, that is why they will not work. But if we link the work to some benefit, then definitely they will become, or they will act individual. They will not act as collective. Okay, so his idea of piece rate system was basically to break that collective bargaining method which was existent in the industries. Itna samajh mein aa gaya? We have written systemic soldering. Okay. Okay. So third assumption. Okay, it was another assumption that he makes is that the basis of management-worker relations should be harmony and not discord. Okay. Now how he clarifies it? Same thing. He is saying that it is traditionally what has been assumed, that management and worker are in perpetual conflict. Why they are in conflict? Because management wants more benefit, profit. Worker wants more salary, worker does not want to work, or management feels that workers, they don't want to work, but they want money. Okay. So saying they are in perpetual conflict. Okay, the reason for this is what? He is saying the lack of productivity. If the productivity is more, then more surplus will be created. If there is more surplus, then the management or the owner's profit will increase. Once his profit increases, then he has no problem as so far giving the salary or extra wages to the workers. So he is saying that through this productivity, through this capitalist revolution that we are doing, okay, we can reduce or we can minimize the conflict between the worker and the management. You agree with this? On surface level, we agree with this. Yes. People are going to earn money. They are not able to get money, or they are not able to get extra benefits. So obviously they are, otherwise what perpetual conflict they have with the owner? Okay, they are jealous of his wealth, jealous of his opulence, of his benefit? No, that is not the logic. Okay, there is no personal equation there. So it's all about what? That okay, somebody is trying to benefit from our labor. That is the logic. So if we are not equally rewarded for the labor we are putting in, then definitely there will be a conflict. So he's saying the main issue of conflict is what? That the management or the owner is earning at the cost of our labor, or owner is feeling that okay, they are putting less labor and they are trying to get more salary, so there is a perpetual conflict. So he's saying that first the management has to understand okay, that workers, okay, they are the factors or they are the constituent or ingredients of the organization. Okay, he's not saying that management's role is not there. He's saying the management has to accept that worker is an important constituent of the organization and worker can contribute to productivity. Worker has to understand that the owner or the capitalist is necessary as far as their survival is concerned. That means if there is no organization or industry, then they cannot survive. So he's saying first this distrust has to be removed. How it can be removed? That first both of them have to change their attitude towards each other, which he calls as the mental revolution. Okay, he uses the term mental revolution, that the management as well as the worker has to go through this mental revolution and then only they can recognize the utility of both for each other. Till that time, if it is not done, till that time there will always be a conflict. So this mental revolution concept was also a revolution itself. Okay. It was like the inherent conflict which exists under the ideology of Marxism. Okay, he tries to remove that inherent conflict because or through his idea of mental revolution. He is saying that they are or their interests are not antagonistic. Their interests are similar. He wants to earn money and he also wants to earn money. So he is saying where is the conflict? Increase the productivity. More surplus, you also earn and you also earn. Then where is the conflict? So change this attitude and work towards the productivity. Ultimately all the conflict will be over. Can mental revolution concept be taken in some other sense? What kind of mental revolution he wanted? Okay, if you see, most of the capitalist societies are driven by what? No, profit is only a manifestation. What is the core ideology? No, not greed. It is the exploitation of resource. Okay, they want to exploit the resource. Okay, why they want to exploit the resource? Okay, if you understand the biblical idea, Bible पढ़ा है कभी सुना है? No. Okay. So Weber has later he has studied Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism. Okay, so he is saying that what? Because they want to earn money. Why they want to earn money? Not because they want to consume, but they want to invest. Okay, so they are not earning money because they are consumerist. Okay, he is saying the basic ideology is the religious ideology which says that okay, earn money and create more resource. Distribute that resource. Okay. Globalization is based on the same idea. Every country, every participant will benefit. That is globalization. But globalization is not getting benefit only for one country. Obviously it cannot. Okay. Even if other country will not benefit equally, at least there will be some benefit. Okay. Same is the ideology there. So what mental revolution is talking about? He is talking about the same, the ideological influence of the Marxism. Okay, which had influenced most of the Europe and even the workers' union in America. So he is referring to that mental revolution to that also, that ultimately what do you want? What is your comfort? Your comfort is not rest. Your comfort is your achievement. So he is saying they have to transform themselves to accept that okay, my rest, okay, or not working is not my comfort. My comfort is when I create the resource. Ultimately when they are producing more, what they are doing? They are fulfilling the needs of the society. So he is saying this transformation is also necessary. Okay, mentally the ideological capture of the Marxism must go. Okay. Because what it does, it creates too much of moral and ethical, percepts within individuals. But ultimately, okay, your stomach cannot be filled by those moral and ethical percepts. And that is a reality. Food is a reality, is it not? Hunger is a reality. So however ideological you become, okay, you cannot survive without food. So he is bringing that logic. He is saying the mental revolution, okay, must understand, or this mental revolution must remove the ideological underpinnings of Marxism. Okay, you're right. Harmony, not discord. Okay, today's class will be a little shorter. I'm not well. So it's better you write so many things. Okay. Harmony, not discord, right? According to Taylor, there is no inherent conflict between the workers and the management. There is no inherent conflict between the workers and the management, as both want material benefit for themselves. Okay. Workers need salary and hike in wages, whereas management needs more profit. The traditional view that more profit to the management would come at the cost of decreasing salary of the workers. Decreasing salary of the workers, which is not true. Their interests are not antagonistic. Their interests are not antagonistic. Antagonistic. If both management and workers divert their effort towards increasing productivity, surplus can be generated. This surplus would create more profit, and the management would have no problem in sharing this profit. In terms of incentives or overtime. Okay. So, increased surplus can eliminate the existent conflict. this transformed approach towards increasing productivity, this transformed approach towards increasing productivity was called as mental revolution. Management and workers both should accept each other as co-actors in creating benefit, for all. Okay, this will also benefit the consumers, obviously. Okay, so he's saying this mental revolution is required. How this mental revolution can come? How will it come? You have to train them, or you have to go for some ideological change. Okay. The mental revolution can be brought at two levels. Number one, reforming the attitude, psychology of the workers and the managers. Okay, he's not that exploitative. He also knows these managers also have to be reformed. Workers and the managers through training and skill development. Second, reforms at the level of work processes, that is scientifically defining each and every aspect of work so that workers can contribute effectively. What does it mean? He wants to bring the change in the work or the process of the work, and also the change in the individual. Okay, so mental revolution can only take place when change is brought at both the levels, one at the level of work, other at the level of individual. Right. Mental revolution also जिसको काम नहीं आएगा, तुम ऐसा काम दे दिया जाए तो तुम्हें नहीं आता है, कैसे करोगे? काम क्या करना है ये नहीं पता हो तो कैसे करोगे? तुम्हें कंप्यूटर पर बिठा दो और अच्छा भेज दो, टाइप करो, तुम्हें नहीं पता. बोला वर्क को जब हम डिफाइन करेंगे, देन व्हाट विल हैपन? एवरीबडी विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द नेचर ऑफ वर्क. ओके, सो कॉन्सिक्वेंटली उसका काम करने का मोटिवेशन बढ़ेगा. If you don't understand the nature of the work you are going to perform, so what will happen? You will be demotivated to work. So mental revolution is also required to work or to increase the number of hours of work. How is it possible? Unless you transform the work process itself. ठीक है, तो मेंटल रेवोल्यूशन तो है. मेंटल रेवोल्यूशन का उसका लॉजिक क्या है? प्रोडक्टिविटी. ठीक है, तो अनट्रेन्ड मैन इन फ्रंट ऑफ अ ट्रेन्ड वर्क, he'll run away from the work. That was the logic. He's saying that what organizations are doing, they have not standardized the work, but they have provided the task to different people. Now these people do not know what to do. So what manager does? Okay, he keeps forcing them. Okay. Do it. Okay, do this way, do that way, do that way. Now they don't know what exactly is the nature of work they are performing. Okay. Someday one worker is doing some other work and someday he is doing some other work. Okay, he has given references in his book. That one day a person was doing a manual work, the other day he was asked to operate a machine, the other day he was sitting in front of as a guard, as a security of the organization. It was because the work was not assigned to the definite person. Okay. This itself is a big demotivator, or it is a big limitation in productivity. है कि नहीं? होगा ना? तो exploitation है ना, तुम ऐसा काम, you are given such a task which you cannot do, that is an exploitation. Okay. देखिए, what did you write? Mental revolution is also a reference to the mental revolution is also a reference to the existent ideological underpinning of communism dominating the workers' union. Capitalism could eliminate various problems like poverty, hunger, etc. which were the reasons for the plight of workers. The reasons for the plight of workers. So he is saying that once they are out of this ideological underpinning, okay, they have to realize that capitalism is the cure and capitalism is not the cause. Are you understanding this? Okay, he is saying that you have to transform psychologically or attitudinally, you have to remove this biasness that okay, capitalism is the reason for your situation. He is saying capitalism will become the main reason for your or improving your life or making your living conditions better. That is his logic. He is saying this requires a mental transformation. Okay. Do you require a mental revolution? You require a mental revolution. In what sense? Okay, so see, try to understand. Knowledge, obviously, correct. Information. So what is he saying? The revolution must not be physical, the violent revolution. The revolution may be mental revolution. Marxist ideology is what? Is about the conflict. Okay. Conflict may be manifested in the form of violence, collective bargaining, trade unionism, strike and this. He's saying instead of that revolution, go for a mental revolution. As simple as that. Okay, so remove all the negative outcomes that may arise as a consequence of the Marxist ideology or that kind of revolution which people have talked. So you see how ideologically he is countering the idea of Marxism. कि वो revolution जो तुम बोल रहे हो उससे better है mental revolution. Have you understood this? Fine. So let us go then. So this was important. Many questions can be asked. What is the idea of mental revolution? How mental revolution can be brought today in the administration? Whether today's administrator requires a mental revolution or not. So many things they can link. We'll do it once we move forward. Okay. Fourth लिखिए. men, not positions. Paying men, not positions. What does this imply? Have any idea? So the salary should not come just because somebody is sitting somewhere. Okay. It must be as a consequence of the achievement or whatever the performance. Okay. Not to whom it would be referring. Supervisors. Worker का position क्या है भैया? Worker तो worker है बेचारा. Okay. Obviously it is referring to the middle or the higher levels in the organization. Okay. And if you want to extrapolate, then you can say yes, worker, because worker, okay, just being part of the organization, you will not be paid. Okay, so you have to standardize a performance and you have to perform on that particular standard, and if you don't do it, then you may be punished also. If you do it, you may be rewarded also. So this leads to, okay, or it implies a change in the attitude and the behavior not only of the workers but also of the manager. Okay, this equally is applicable to managers also, because managers were enjoying huge powers. Okay, but their work was also not defined. Okay, so what he is saying that in the organization or industrial process the work is not defined. So he is also talking about managers. Their work is also not defined. What is their work? Okay, their work is only punishing, running after the workers. You did not do this, you did not do this, you did not do that. Okay, supervisory control type of work. Okay, so they are not responsible. They do not have themselves a performance benchmark. That okay, in one day what I have to do. So he was the supporter of a discrete aspect of work. Everything will be standardized. So he also wanted that one day's work should be standardized, that what will be the work that will be achieved in a particular day, if the day comprises of 8 hours of work. So what will be the outcome during these 8 hours, that should also be defined, and for whom? Both the managers as well as the workers. Okay, it's not only for the workers. Okay, right. Because of non-standardization of work, non-standardization of work, the performance evaluation of managers as well as workers, could not be done. This led to wastage of resource, time and effort. So according to Taylor, a fair day's work or wage or wages could only be decided when each aspect of work has been systematically evaluated. Instead of paying salary to the occupants of different positions. Without evaluation of performance. The organizations must develop performance benchmarks, within quotes you can write, must develop performance benchmarks and link the salaries to these, or link the salaries to these benchmarks. Reward performance or overperformance, reward performance or overperformance, and punish the underperformance. So, in nutshell, it is like what? Rewarding those who are good performance and punishing those who are underperformers. But how will you know that somebody is underperforming or somebody is overperforming unless you have a benchmark? Right. So, based on these assumptions, okay, Taylor comes up with the principles of scientific management. That means what? His core idea is based on this logic. Okay. So, he talks about certain principles of organization. Principles, you can understand something like generalized directives, generalized guidelines for most of the industrial organizations, even though his work was restricted to a particular type of organization. Okay. But because he was the first person and not necessarily the only person, okay, even the term scientific management was not given by him. Okay. But he was the first one to understand and study the approach towards the work in a scientific manner. Okay. That is to his credit. So the term scientific management does not come from him. Okay. But yes, the theoretical aspect or the theoretical understanding of what a scientific management should be, that comes from the Taylor. Okay. Okay. So he gave certain principles of organizations, okay, or principles of industrial management, which you can call as scientific management. Okay. There is a very famous theorist known as Peter Drucker. Okay. Peter Drucker says calls Taylor as the first Taylor was the first knowledge manager. In the industrial management theory building, he was the first knowledge manager. What does this mean? This itself could be a question that Taylor was, or Drucker says that Taylor was one of the first knowledge managers. What is a knowledge manager? Who manages knowledge? Who is a knowledge worker? If there is a knowledge manager, there will be a knowledge worker. Agni. If there is a public good, there must be public bad also. Knowledge worker कौन है? जो knowledge पे काम करता है. According to the knowledge, who works is the knowledge worker. the one who creates the knowledge how to work is the knowledge manager. Okay. So what he is saying, that Taylor can be considered the first person to study, understand the industrial process, and based on that understanding create a knowledge for the people to follow. So how, by observing or by empirical understanding of the work process of the industry, how Taylor visualized that what could be the format or better format of doing this thing, that is a knowledge manager. In fact, he is not a creator, but you can understand that way, that he was the one who understands the existing knowledge, transforms the existing knowledge into a better knowledge, and then gives a direction to the people who are working. So how to optimize the knowledge, how to use the knowledge for the optimum benefit, that Taylor was the first person to recognize it. Even if Wilson is talking about science of administration, then how to use this science and how to arrive at a science of administration, Wilson does not know. But when Taylor is talking about science of management or scientific management, he knows how to arrive at this science of management. So whose contribution is noteworthy, Taylor or Wilson? So Taylor can be called as father of industrial management, and Wilson is called a father of public administration. But logic is what? That Taylor was definitely more pragmatic than Wilson. Even though we are forcibly deriving the ideology from the Taylor, but Taylor was a pure what? Realist, practitioner, nothing else. Okay. His suggestions, his changes, whatever principles he talked about, they were basically practitioner oriented, how you can implement them in day-to-day life, nothing else. He was more concerned with the action part and less concerned with the ideology part. Wilson was more concerned with the ideology part and less with the action part. So if you are recommending for doing something, okay, then you must also recommend how to do it. So Taylor answered what? Taylor answered both the things. What as well as how. So he was considered as the first knowledge manager. Okay, in the entire industrial management philosophy, he is considered as the first knowledge manager. Okay. So you can understand that how important these principles were. Okay, they influenced most of the industrial revolution, okay, or a dominant phase of industrial revolution. Henry Ford was so inspired by Taylor that he implemented most of the principles in his automobile industry, okay, known as Fordism. हेनरी फोर्ड एक बहुत सक्सेसफुल बिजनेसमैन था, अभी भी है, मतलब वो नहीं है, but business is successful, not in India but outside. Okay. So he implemented, he became the symbol of the Taylor. Okay. So verbatim he implemented each and everything talked by Taylor. Okay, and he himself came, or he himself was known as Fordism, or his ideologies were made popular as Fordism, extension of Taylorism. Okay. So many people were inspired by Taylor. Okay, many countries were inspired by Taylor, including India. But India was not India then, you can say British India. Okay. Most of the Europe and America and even the communist countries. Okay. Okay. So you can write this. Have you written it? No. Okay, Taylor, or Peter Drucker called Taylor as one of the first knowledge manager. So now you can write the principles of scientific management. Okay. क्या प्रिंसिपल्स थे? One best way. Is that a principle? Look for scientific understanding of work. Okay, right. understanding, or just don't write understanding, you will be confused. Scientific study, simplify. Scientific study of work, time and motion. Okay. Now this time and motion study is very important, okay, for Taylor. Okay. So that is why one of the reasons that why his focus was on the shop floor level. Okay. So he said scientific study of work, time and motion is one of the essential principles of the scientific management. That unless you study, unless you scientifically observe, empirically study the work, okay, break the work. How to study the work now? So he is saying you have to break the work into discrete aspects. And various aspects of work once broken, okay, then the type of tasks which are similar. Are you understanding? If I take the entire work of the organization, break it into discrete parts, and many of the tasks may be similar in nature. So what? Once I identify the tasks which are similar in nature, then what? Again, then these tasks are clubbed together, which are similar in nature, and then re-aggregate the work. That means what he is talking about? Yes, more optimal manner. An optimization of the work process. So he is saying there will be duplication of effort. Same type of activity being done by a number of people. Okay, no coordination among them. So it's what? Club all the type of tasks which are similar type, and then based on that what you can allocate the human resource. Okay. So this is like a manual job mein kaun sa job, ye job, okay. Then what kind of resource is required? Okay, this kind of resource is required. So it will be easy to assign people to the task if you have segregated the task or rearranged the task in this particular manner. Okay. So his concern was not just the rearranging but also the allocation of people to the task. Okay. Time study. Very simple. Every task requires a time to be performed, but what is to be done here? He is saying there will be a standard time of doing things. Okay. They became so obsessed with this time, okay, that later one of the followers of Taylor, Henry and Lillian Gilbert, husband and wife, okay, they tried to create an elemental unit of motion. That means what? That how many moves or how many motions are associated with a particular task and how much time is taken. So instead of doing this motion, if you do that motion, okay, then you can reduce the time. So your physical movement, not this way, probably that way, okay, that is a more, or that creates a more shorter duration of work. So don't move this way, move that way. Now what they did, they segregated various type of tasks, associated these tasks with the type of motions which are required, okay, and then created a unit. They are so obsessed with that discrete evaluation of work. Yani, what is the simple logic? That if you have to shave or you have to brush, then they are saying this is the ideal number of motions and time which will be required by a human being to shave or brush. So they named it as reverse of their surname. Thurbligs or Thurblig. So Therblig was associated with 18 motions. So 18 motions clubbed together, one Therblig. Now if those motions were repeated twice or thrice, then 3 Therbligs, 2 Therbligs, not like this. Okay, so you see how obsessed they became with this time and motion study. Okay, so he was also saying that with every work there will be an associated standard time.